Peace and blessings to the 12 tribes of Israel. Today I'm going to deal with a video commentary called the Simp Spirit. So it's the simple spirit, right? Or the Simp Spirit, right? And it's about a video that circulated online a few months ago. And I've been wanting to make a video about it, but I've never actually got around to doing it. And it's about this gentleman who's just given his woman a helicopter trip, or he's just about to give her a helicopter trip. But anyhow, the helicopter's there, and he got down on one knee and he gave her 5 engagement rings and he asked her to marry him. So I thought it'd be interesting to kind of give a very short video commentary on it and hopefully give some edification with it too. Okay, so before I show the video and give a little bit of a commentary, let me read something that was done in Gulf Today. So it was Gulf Today. There was a story that was done on this couple, right? And the engagement, right? So let's just read the story that was done on it. A couple is being praised for their relationship goals after a video of their over-the-top engagement video went viral on social media. Last week, William Hun proposed to his girlfriend, Brittany Miller, after first setting the scene with a helicopter ride around Atlanta. A few close friends and a photographer and videographer. However, Hun also pulled out all the stops with the engagement ring as he proposed with 5 rather than 1 once the couple had exited on a rooftop helicopter pad, right? So they just finished having a ride in a helicopter and then he just sprang it on her, right? 5 engagement rings. In the video of the proposal, which the couple posted on Instagram, but that was since circulated on Twitter, Hun tells Miller, "I thought I knew what love was until you came into my life. Not only did you help me realize that I don't want to live without you, but I realize that I can't live without you. I have to have you. I really do. And I have to spend the rest of my life with you." Hun dressed in a blue suit, then got on one knee before presenting Miller with a choice of 5 diamond engagement rings. So he gave her 5 engagement rings. "Will you marry me?" he asked before informing his new fiancée. "You can try all 5 or pick one." Right? In the sweet video, Miller, who already told Hun absolutely as she cried tears of happiness, hesitated before choosing a ring in the middle. According to the bride-to-be, it wasn't an easy choice as the rings were all ones that she had picked a few weeks prior, except for the custom rectangular cut diamond ring that Hun had chosen himself and which she ended up choosing. Of the romantic proposal, Miller, who has been dating Hun for little less than a year, so she's been dating him for little less than a year, told NBC News, "If he had asked just our family come out, if he had just had our family come from out of state to meet for the first time and surprised me with 1 ring, I would have been just as happy. But he wanted to make it very, very unique and special, and he did that." On social media, the gesture was met with an outpouring of applause, with many declaring the proposal as a goal and proof of a real love between the couple. 5 rings! The best proposal ever. What a smart guy. Goals! One person tweeted. Another said, "She got to choose her own ring and be surprised. I've never seen something like this before. Love it. Never knew such a flex existed," someone else joked, while the couple became engaged after little less than a year of dating. They have known each other for more than 10 years. After first meeting at Clark Atlanta University, with Miller telling NBC News that they had remained friends for the entire time. As for the appreciative response to their over-the-top engagement, Miller said that the couple are grateful and that the world needs more of that, just all-around support no matter what, right? So that was written by The Independent I've got here, but it was on the website The Gulf Today, right? Okay, so this was written in April 2021, so I'm assuming that's when it all took place.
realize I don't want to live without you. But I realize that I can't live without you.
Now, my problem with this, and this is my personal opinion, I don't know these two people, but for me, it's the problem comes when you've known someone for 10 years and they haven't said yes, right? Because if you've known someone for 10 years, you must have been asking them out the whole time, but they said no, right? Whether she was asking him out or he was asking her out, but it will most likely be the man asking her out. And she keeps saying no. So that's kind of like a flag, right? And then after 10 years, how comes all of a sudden now you're dating her for like a year and then now you know that she is definitely the best thing ever? All of these things look fishy to me. Now, I don't know this couple and I'm just surmising, right? And this couple's never really professed that they love God. They're not professing their belief in the Most High, God of Israel. So they're not coming from that angle, right? They're coming from a worldly angle, right? A worldly angle or a Christian angle is all these romantic notions, But what I'm trying to do is cut through the sweetness of a proposal, a romantic proposal, and actually make you realize that your marriage doesn't start and end. Your happy ending doesn't start and end with a proposal. A proposal is nothing. It's meaningless, right? It's when you're in a marriage and you keeping it going, right? Marriage is sacrificial. Marriage is conditional. Marriage is obedient, right? It's about sacrificing your time, sacrificing your life, and giving it to someone else, giving it to your husband. Husband sacrifice his time and his body, and he protects his wife. He provides for his wife. That is what marriage is about. It's about sacrificial giving, right? It's not about these romantic notions, romanticizing a woman that is half dressed in public, all that stuff, giving her a helicopter trip, all that stuff is romantic. But really, when you cut it down, it doesn't keep a marriage going, and it never will keep a marriage going. But I don't know this couple, and I don't know their history, and I wish them nothing but the best.
I have to. I have to spend 2 months.
And the other thing is the getting down on one knee. That's not biblical. I mean, that's not in the Bible. It's not right or wrong, right? But the whole point is that a man is supposed to be the head, right? So why are you begging a woman to the point where you're actually going down on one knee to beg? Because that's like the ultimate begging sign, right? That the ultimate submissive sign is that you're begging this woman to marry you. And as the head of the house, you're not supposed to be begging her to marry you, right? You just ask her, maybe we should get married, and that's it, right? Maybe we should make it legal, and that's it. You don't have to go down on one knee, because when you go down on one knee, the signals that you're sending to your wife, right, to the woman that you want to marry, is that you're prepared to be a simp. You're prepared to be weak, right? Because she's giving you the authority to get married. And without her having the upper hand, then it means it's not going to take place, basically. And therefore, once you actually get locked into this legal marriage, it means that she's always going to be thinking, I did you a favor kind of thing, right? And that's the problem with all this getting down on one knee, is that it goes into the worshipping of the woman, right? And we shouldn't really engage in stuff like that, right? And also, you're getting down on one knee for a woman that is half dressed, right? She's not properly dressed. So the man is fully dressed, but the woman is half dressed. It's like you don't get legally bound up with a woman and pledge some kind of engagement of marriage to a woman that is half dressed, right? That's not a good sign, right? It's just not a good sign, because if a woman is half dressed, right, and she's very comfortable being half dressed around you, what does that show? Right? It's not a very good sign. It's wearing an attire of a harlot. And it's not just the fact that she's comfortable being half dressed around you, but she's also comfortable being half dressed in public. You see, if she's comfortable being half dressed in public, then it's probably not a good sign. Also, the other red flag is the nails. Right? The nails are unproductive nails or unhygienic nails. Right? They're not nails that you want your wife to have, because those nails are too long. What can those nails do that's productive? So you look at all of these things. Now, I'm not saying a woman should have nails. I mean, she's a female. Women are supposed to look beautiful. But what I'm saying is, if a woman has nails that are that long, it's not a very good sign that she's very productive, because productive females tend to have short nails, right? They tend to nearly always have short nails or no nails.
Absolutely.
And these kind of Babylonian marriages, as I said before, they have a 50-50 chance of working. In some place, it depends on where you live. In some places, it's even worse than that. So you're actually legally binding yourself up with someone for the rest of your life, and it has a 50% chance of working. Whether you are in the church, the Christian church, or not, or you're woken to be an Israelite or not, it's 50% across the line, right? Some countries is more, some countries it goes, below 50%, because they're not as crazy as these westernized countries. In Western countries, it's anything goes, right? But in poorer countries, third world countries, people more so stay together. So when I'm talking about marriage, I'm talking mainly in Western countries. So it's around 50% of people divorce, right? So the chances are, when you sign a legal document to prove that you're married, you have half a chance, you have 50% chance that it's going to end in divorce in a year, in a couple of years, in 5 years, in 10 years. And when that happens, the courts is always going to take the side of the woman. Everything is always tipped towards the woman. You should always remember that. Men, brothers, every time you go down on one knee and you give 5 engagement rings, I hope none of you lot do that kind of thing. Just give her a ring, right? Don't give her a choice of 5 rings. What you don't want to do is give her the impression that you're some kind of pushover, you're some kind of simp, right? Because you need to set the standard from the beginning. And if the standard from the beginning is you're weak and you're prepared to do anything for her because you love her that much, she's going to take the piss, right? She's going to take the piss. And that word is in the Bible, by the way. She is going to take the mick, as we say in Britain, right? So the standard that you need to set from the beginning is I'm the head, right? And therefore, don't give her 5 rings so that she can take 5 rings and say, well, I want 5. What are you going to say after that? Oh, no, you can't have 5. You can only choose 1. No, she'll take the 5 rings, right? Because then she'll think, oh, hang on, that was my big day and I couldn't even keep the 5 rings. Because some women are that wicked, that selfish, that they would take the 5 rings, right? Because they know he can afford it. He can afford it. And if he can't afford it, so what? And that's how they think a lot of the times, right? So you just have to be very, very careful. So when you get married to someone, you have a 50% chance of it working. And therefore, you should be calculating, okay, everything that you do should be about keeping that marriage together, right? So you don't incentivize her to divorce you, and you don't allow her to subvert your masculinity. So you set those two things up from the beginning, right? You don't allow her to see you as being a weak person that she can just shove around, right? Don't do that. Because ultimately women respect masculinity. They respect masculinity. They don't respect someone that's a pushover, right? Because they know they can push you and it doesn't take them much for them to push you and you'll just fall over, right? Now, if it's a 50-50 chance of it working out, if you go do the whole hog of going, doing the legal marriage, then now you got to factor in she's going to take your house, she's going to take your car, she's going to take your business, she's going to take your children. You might have to, you will have to pay child support if she does take your children, and you might have to have a court order to see your own children, and you may only be allowed to see your own children probably for a few weeks per week, a few hours per week. Probably, probably about 7 hours per week or probably on weekends, right? So you factor all those things in. So you just got to be very careful when you do this legal outpouring, because what you don't want to do is slip into the simp spirit. Okay, let's do some edification on the simple spirit or the simp spirit. So let's first go to Sirach 40:19. Children and the building of a city continue a man's name, but a blameless wife is counted above them all. Right? So children and the building of a city continue a man's name. So there's respect behind that, much respect behind that. But a blameless wife is counted above them all. So if you have a blameless wife, a virtuous wife, a good wife, a woman in a quiet, meek spirit, a woman that's able to accept instruction and is able to be in order, right? Then that gives the most respect of all, right? So that's much more respected than anything else. So let's now precept that with Proverbs 31, reading from 10 to 12. Proverbs 31. And we're going to read from 10 to 12. Who can find a virtuous woman, but her price is far above rubies? So you could precept that with that other scripture, right? So the scripture in Sirach is talking about a virtuous woman, right? And the heart of her husband do it safely trust in her, so that he shall have no need of spoils. So he can trust in his wife. He can put trust in this woman that was made for him, and this woman that he can rely on and trust. 12, she will do him good and not evil all the days of her life, right? Because there's trust there, he can rely on her to do him good and not evil. And this is part of her being a virtuous woman, or on the way of being a virtuous woman. Let's read 10 again. Who can find a virtuous woman, but her price is far above rubies? 11, the heart of her husband do it safely trust in her, so that he shall have no need of spoil. She will do him good and not evil all the days of her life. So there must be an element of trust in that marriage. So if you're looking to marry someone, you must be able to trust that person, right? You must be able to trust that person. And especially today, it needs time for you to actually prove someone as a friend. You need time, especially in this day and age. I mean, back in the day, biblical times, I mean, the Lord will say that's your wife, and we pretty much can just get married to her there and then, right? But now it's much more difficult, right? It's much more difficult to find a spouse, right? So let's now go to Sirach 40:23. A friend and companion never meet amiss, but above both is a wife with her husband. So let's read it again. A friend and companion never meet amiss, but above both is a wife and her husband. So a wife and her husband, a married couple, is a friendship that is far beyond any other friendship. It is that special friendship which is watered by intimacy, right? When you come together and you connect in an intimate way with have intercourse with your spouse, then you are now one with your spouse. So when you keep coming back to have intercourse with your spouse, then you're watering that relationship and you're keeping it going. So it's a special type of relationship. It's a deeply spiritual, deeply physical type of relationship, right? Like no other. So let's now go to Surah 25 and we're going to read the very first verse. So we're reading Surah 25, 1. In three things I was beautified and stood up beautiful both before God and men, the unity of brethren. So that's the unity of the brothers and sisters, the love of neighbors, which is the same kind of thing. It means the love of your brothers and sisters, a man and a wife that agree together. So a man and his wife is very, very beautiful. It's a special type of relationship. It's far above just loving your brothers and sisters and loving your neighbors. It's a special type of relationship. So it's in three things I was beautified and stood up beautiful both before God and men, the unity of brethren, which would have been your brothers and your sisters, the love of neighbors, which would be people of your own race, right? It would be like in this case, it's written about Israel. So in this case, it would be Israel, but a neighbor is someone of your own people, your own family of people. So it's love between each other within the same people, a man and his wife that agree together, and a man and his wife that agree together in a marriage. So that's a beautiful thing before the eyes of the Lord. So we're now going to go to Timothy. We're going to go to 1 Timothy 3. And we're going to read from 4 to 5. So these are now the qualifications for a bishop, right? So these are the things that you need to be, these are the traits that needs to happen, that you need to be seeing, right? Before you say, I do, right? So 1 Timothy 3, and we read it from 4 to 5. One that ruleth well his own house, having his children in subjection with all gravity. For if a man know not how to rule his own house, how shall he take care of the church of God? Right? So it must be, so when you're choosing a husband, when a woman is choosing a husband, she has to know that the husband that she's choosing is a head, is a leader, someone that's supposed to be ruling his house and ruling it well, right? So one that ruleth well his own house. And by the way, a bishop is New Testament leaders, right? So it's something that every Israelite man should be aiming towards. It's a template that all Israelite men should be aiming towards. One that ruleth well his own house, having children in subjection with all gravity. So he's supposed to be in complete control of his house, and he's supposed to be ruling his house. For if a man know not how to rule his own house, how shall he take care of the church of God? So he must show himself to have a house that is in order, which means a wife that is in order and children that are in order, right? So let's now read the qualifications for a deacon. So we read in 1 Timothy 3:12. Let the deacons be the husbands of one wife, ruling their children and their own house as well. So it's the same thing again, right? You must be able to rule your house. You must be able to take the headship over your wife. Your wife, first of all, must be in order, and the children must be in order too, right? Because the wife is in charge of the children. So the hierarchy is the wife is the head of the children, the man is the head of the wife, Christ is the head of man, and God is the head of Christ. So that's the hierarchy, that's the order, right? And that order must be maintained in order to have success in life, in all things, really. Right? So let's read it again. Let the deacons be the husband of one wife. So you need only, like the bishop, just one wife in the New Testament, ruling their children. So you ruling your children and your own house as well. Your houses means your wife and your children, right? So again, it's talking about you must be able to rule, right? So there's no room for simp spirit. So when a woman is looking for a husband, she needs to be looking for a husband that can rule his house well, because this is the standard. This is the highest standard, is that his house is in order and he's able to rule his house, his wife and his children well. Right? So when a woman is looking for a husband, she needs to be looking for a man that can rule his house well. A man that is not submissive to her, but a man that has masculinity. He can lead, he can be a head, right? And vice versa. When a man is looking for a wife, he needs to look for a woman who is very submissive, a woman who's very submissive, very intelligent, very industrious. She's not lazy. She's not a scatterbrain. She's not starting something and never finishing it. No, he should be looking for a woman that is on the way to being a virtuous woman, a woman that is God-fearing and is incredibly submissive, right? Submissive in general in her character, right? Because masculinity is attracted to submissiveness. Submissiveness is femininity. Aggressiveness, being in charge, is masculinity. So when you're a man looking for a woman, don't get fooled into think that, oh, she's just nice. Everybody's nice when you just meet them, right? Everybody is Christian nice when you just meet them. Everybody says, oh, well, I'm all that. I'm really, really a sweet, nice person. Everybody is sweet and nice when you just meet them, right? It's only when you get to live with them, when you're married to them, the real them comes through. And very often it's not very nice, right? All that pretense, all that is put to a test when you actually have to live with them on a day-to-day basis, right? So as a man, you are clear on what you're saying from the beginning, and then you mean what you say and you're consistent about it, right? So you're clear on what you're saying, you mean what you say, and you're consistent all the way through. Just for clarity reasons, I mean in a sense of the things that matter to you, the things that you cannot compromise on, right? Obviously, you can compromise here and there on things that are not as important, but the things as a man that is important to you, because remember, this woman was made for you, right? You need to be strong on those things and not compromise, because those are important to you, because she's made for you. She's made to support you. So therefore, you cannot compromise on those things. If you compromise on those things, you will have chaos, because your head is Christ, and therefore you need to show strength. You need to show masculinity, right? So let's go to Proverbs 31:3. Give not thy strength unto women, nor thy ways that which destroy kings. So you're not supposed to give your strength to a woman. It is wrong to give your strength to a woman. So when you're simping and you're giving a woman a choice of 5 rings, she could take the 5 rings and say, well, it's my day. I should be able to take at least, 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. It's my day, right? You don't simp. You don't lower yourself to that level where she can think, oh, he's going down on one knee, and he's given me a choice of 5 rings, expensive rings. He's given me a helicopter trip, and all that. And I'm dressed like a hooker. All that, and I'm dressed like a prostitute. I mean, come on. You can't simp like that, right? You cannot lower yourself to those standards. If you're going to do that kind of thing, if you're going to give a woman all of these rewards, she needs to be able to earn it. In order for her to earn it, she needs to show, already have a period of where she's shown herself to be a good wife, a virtuous woman, a good mother, a good, someone that can listen to what you're saying and taking it on board, right? So you just have to be very, very careful. Now, I'm not saying that, this couple, that's how they are. I don't know much about this couple. All I know is from what I read, but I'm just using that as an example, right? So the wife needs to be able to earn something before you actually sign away your life to her, right? That's the point I'm trying to make, right? So you never give your strength to a woman. Let's read it again. Let's read that bit in Proverbs again. Give not thy strength unto women, nor thy ways that which destroy kings, right? So you never give your strength to a woman, right? You never, ever give your strength to a woman. You never allow her to be in control of you. And you don't be like Solomon, whereby you have all these wives and then they change your heart. And then we end up losing the kingdom in the end. Israel lost the kingdom in the end, right? You don't be like that. So let's go to Sirah 7:26. What I'm saying is that you don't bend for a woman to the point whereby you're willing to accumulate wives, or you accumulate to bend for one woman, right? You maintain your strength all the way through. So let's read Sirah 7:26. We're reading Sirah 7:26. Hast thou a wife after thy mind? Forsake her not, but give not thyself over to a light woman. So the woman that you need to be looking for is a woman that has the same mind as you, right? In the Christian church, they tell you opposites attract. If you are an extrovert, you need to be looking for an introvert. If you're loud, you need to be looking for a quiet man. All that stuff is just foolishness, right? You need to be looking for someone of your own mind who loves the scriptures, who knows the scriptures, and who's willing to learn the scriptures, and who's like-minded, more like-minded than not, right? So it says, hast thou a wife after thy mind? Forsake her not. So you don't forsake someone who has the same mindset as you. But give not thyself over to a light woman. Don't give yourself over to a stupid woman, a foolish woman, a woman that if you tell her, I don't want you to dress sexily, she has a problem with it, right? If you tell her, I don't want you to look manly, she has a problem with it. If you tell her, I don't want you to wear pancake makeup looking like a clown with multicolored hair wigs, she has a problem with it. That's not the woman that you need to be looking for, right? You need to be and not a woman that is tattooed up. You don't need that type of woman. That woman is a light woman. She can't think for herself, and she's following the pack, right? She's following the pack. And that's not the type of woman you need to be going for. You need an intelligent woman, a kind-hearted woman, a God-fearing woman, right? So a light woman would be a woman that is half-dressed, a woman that is loud, a woman that is aggressive, a woman that is very nagging, a woman that is narcissistic. She's always on Instagram with the shots, and she always has to look the sexiest possible, reveal the most, a woman that is tattooed up. All those things are traits of narcissism and materialistic. So you don't need a materialistic person, because a materialistic person would just get you in debt, right? So when you set the standard in the beginning and you say, well, hey, I'm rich, but I'm not going to bend. I'm not going to bend, and I'm not going to allow you to take my strength away. I'm going to show you strength. You're not going to subvert my masculinity, right? So that's the kind of stance that you need to have. And you also need to have the stance of I'm not going to incentivize you to take advantage of me, that kind of thing. So that's the kind of thing that you need to be thinking about, right? So you set the standard from the beginning, and then you maintain it and be consistent all the way through. And always remember that to rule your house well, you have to have a wife that is prepared to earn whatever you're going to give, which is a big give. She must be able to have earned it. Whether she's earned it by being in a quiet, meek spirit, by being, friendly, she must have been able to earn it. Like, if you're going to sign your life away, she must have been able to prove to you that she is worth it, right? That's the point I'm trying to make, that she is worth it. And that's the kind of thing that you need to be looking for. Like I've said before, I have nothing against this couple, and I wish them nothing but the best, right? But with all of these things, we need to come from a godly perspective, because the Bible is all we have, right? It's all we have, and it's the Most High's heart that we're reading. We're reading his instructions, and that's what we have to follow, okay? Now, I'm going to leave it here. Brothers and sisters, I hope you were edified. Shalom.